Commissioner Campbell, the recorder is on.
Thank you. It's 1:25. We are out of our noon recess. Next up on our agenda is our second public comment period. We will be limiting public comments to 3 minutes. For those, please make your comments to commissioners, not any of those otherwise in the room. So with that, anyone wishing to make public comment, please approach the microphone, state your name and address for the record. We will do in chambers first, and then we will move to one. Anyone wishing to make public comment?
For having us here. I'm Natalie Williams and I'm from Pasco. And I just want to come and talk about the data center that's coming in. And I want to make sure that we're protecting our water supply and our water resources and the wastewater when that gets treated and put back. The entire scope of this data center hasn't been fully released. There might be a situation that it seems like they're going to release parts of it at a time. And I just want to make sure that the full environmental problem of it is assessed in its entirety. And the other problem is that Pasco has done a 6-month moratorium because they have a situation where they have a 12-year agreement with, I don't know if it's the city or the county, to treat Walla's wastewater. And it was, I believe, because of Burbank. If this data center gives them packets or amounts of water that meets the guidelines, they will be obligated to take it. So this is a huge problem for all of us. And this isn't just about Walla, it's about all of us and protecting the water so that we don't have to buy bottled water for our kids to drink or washing their clothes and stuff like that. So I just wanted to come and just support everybody here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Natalie?
Yes.
Thank you, Natalie.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else wish to make a public comment?
Good afternoon, my name is Lilith. I live here in Walla County and I have concerns about how the proposed Walla data center is going to affect our water. It is well known that these data centers have the potential to use huge amounts of water to cool their servers. That water doesn't just get drawn out one at a time and reused over and over again. Some of these data centers use millions of gallons of water and will continue to do so as they are operating. Here in Walla County, we're known for our great water quality, but also our hot and dry summers. The plan for this data center indicates that the potable water will be used until Amazon is able to pull water from the Columbia River. How much water will be used for this data center instead of for drinking, cleaning, or irrigating crops? That's not settled yet. In fact, we're even told that the data center will only use a certain amount of water. These projects haven't turned out to be good for the name. These projects haven't turned out to be the good neighbors they claim to be. A data center in Georgia was found to have illegally drawn 30 million gallons of water from undisclosed utility connections before they were caught and made to pay for the water they stole. They weren't even fined because they were one of the biggest customers for the water company. According to a recent report, even smaller data centers can use as much water as a small town, and the larger ones can use in excess of 5 million gallons of water a day. Do we have millions of gallons of water to spare? What will we do if this data center uses more water than they're allocated? Will we simply have to let them because they're such a big customer? After the water has cooled the data center servers, it has to be treated and discharged, and Amazon claims that their discharged wastewater meets local standards, but that claim doesn't always hold up. Data centers in Morrow County have already pushed long-standing pollution problems beyond what local systems can tolerate, and now drinking water for 45,000 residents is at risk. In Hermiston, Arizona data centers were found to not even be monitoring their wastewater quality to see if it was meeting basic requirements for decontamination. Treatment ponds were built before permits were even applied for, and the only recourse was a fine of a few $1,000s. We need to ensure that any projects like this data center are going to be a benefit to the community as a whole, not just billion-dollar tech companies who want to build here. That's why I'm calling on the county commissioners to enact a 1-year moratorium on data center construction so that we have time to study how these data centers will affect our community. Our resources to enact common sense regulations to protect ourselves. If you're unwilling to pass a moratorium, you must direct the Office of Community Development to require a full environmental impact statement before the project moves forward. A company the size of Amazon can afford to do so before they build, and I'm concerned that we cannot afford to allow them to build here without one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to make public comment? No flags today? Okay.
I'm not running, I could bring more. I wasn't gonna do that one today. Hello, County Commissioners. This is Ben Mattias from 822 Washington Street, for the record. I was playing with some numbers yesterday, and did you know that if you take Amazon Web Services' stated average water use efficiency for their entire fleet, 0.12 liters per kilowatt hour, math it out with the 300 megawatt max power draw of the first phase of the AWS Italia, data centers build out, as stated by Columbia REA CEO Scott Peters. He said I could quote him, and I have his quote in writing, as long as I added timeline to the context. So I will add this: the first phase, according to Amazon, is to be built by 2030, according to Peters. You get at least 44 million gallons per year of water use and up to 89 million gallons of water per year. Now, I'm not saying this to shock you. It's actually a lowball estimate considering the 0.12 liters per kilowatt hour, and is an average. It's dragged down by data centers in cooler regions. But I'm stating this water use number so we can compare it to Amazon Web Services FAQ, which states that for Amazon's 134-acre campus project of up to 3 data centers, the annual cooling water use is expected to be 14 million gallons per year. And if you math that with the stated 0.12 liters per kilowatt hour, it amounts to a max draw of 50 megawatts. And you might say, oh, then Peters' numbers must be wrong. But what I haven't told you is that Peters also told me in his email that the first data center is to be 50 megawatts. That's the first building will house a data center of 50 megawatts. Now, I know you've already received our letter from the lawyers at Earth Justice, and they outline their suspicions along this line, the evidence in the SEPA. And the funny thing is, when I read the SEPA documents for the first time, my first reaction was, there's no way this is the SEPA checklist for a 300 megawatt facility. But I had no way to prove they were hiding information. The 76 acre per feet in the SEPA documents was simply the Columbia River water rate, and that seemed a lowball number already at less than 24 million gallons a year. And I didn't notice the site plan evidence until I read Earth Justice article. So I simply had my suspicions and I couldn't voice them with such little evidence. But between the FAQ, the SEPA documents, Scott Peters' email, and the Earth Justice letter, I'm 80 to 90% confident AWS is not telling the truth about the proposal. My theory is that Amazon thought they had found a loophole that allowed them to shoehorn a half-assed SEPA that didn't reveal the true scale of their project or its environmental impact. Why? I have no idea, and I'm not here to speculate. That's the stuff of closed boardrooms, NDAs, and siloed departments. What I can tell you is that it's a slap in the face to the county. It's disrespectful to our laws, and Amazon, using your website to double down and misdirect us from the truth, simply adds insult to injury. There's enough evidence here to say, at a minimum, a 1-year moratorium is necessary. Also, one of Prescott's city council people just reached out to me, and they're going to institute a 2-year moratorium on data centers. Commissioner Clayton, you asked the other week to what end? I say to give us enough time to put common sense policies in place on data centers in the county and state level, to pause this project and ensure AWS is willing to put their project through the most rigorous study before it's built, to protect our county's resources. We're in an environmental emergency in that drought. If AWS builds all 16 data centers, they will draw as much water as a small city during the highest temperature days of the year, when the hydrological system in our county is already stressed. That's enough of an emergency to justify a moratorium. Your attorney's job is to protect the county and give conservative counsel. Our attorney's job is to tell us what's possible, almost done. And our attorney says, without those building permits, it's possible to make a moratorium stick to this first phase. You just have to have the guts to do it. Thank you.